Hello everybody and welcome back to another Keeping You Company If You Need It video. And in this one I'm playing some more American Truck Simulator for you today. And I've bought a new truck. I'm not in the Trumpville anymore. I don't even know this brand. Peterbilt, I think is how it's pronounced. Anyway, so this is my new truck. It's pretty good for heavy cargo and hills, but has crap maneuverability apparently. And I haven't tried driving it yet, so you're probably going to watch me crash in this video quite a bit, but we shall see. Anyway, let's get underway. We're in the rain. Oh well, c'est la vie. Very different cab view from what I'm used to, and that's a very long bonnet. Anyway, so we get underway. I've already selected a job. We've got like a 1,600-mile drive ahead of us. There's plenty of time. There's not going to be it's not going to be a heavy load, even though this is kind of designed for heavy loads and hills and things. We've only got a 5-ton load just to get used to this truck a little bit. Get underway. I hope you're all doing well. It's the beginning of April, so something like, oh, one of these videos is overdue. I think the previous one came out a little bit late, so there you go. In case you don't know what these are, this is just a little series of videos I'm recording on a monthly basis, more or less, in which I play a nice chilled out game, American Truck Simulator, or Euro Truck Simulator, or something else. Nice chilled out game, during which I can chat to you all about whatever. And that's what we're going to do today. I'm having a look on my OBS. It seems to all be working fine, except it seems like the audio for the game is a little bit too loud, so I apologise in advance if that is the case. Hopefully my, oh, I shouldn't have turned. My bad. Hopefully, the level of my voice will compensate. Okay, will do, Doug. Don't know if you can hear Doug, but Doug's with us still. Same truck, same Doug.
Turn left.
Oh, sorry, different truck. Yeah, new truck. Same Doug. There you go. I can't remember what I said just then. Sorry, I'm recording this at 10:30 at night, so yeah, I'm a little bit tired. But anyway, so I've got some things planned for this episode in terms of things to talk about, but whether or not we'll actually talk about them is a different matter. We shall see. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope the latter part of March, since we last spoke, went well for you. It's been a little bit, I think a little bit busy with me, and it has been busy. But at the same time, I've been, unfortunately, a little bit sick recently. I can't remember when the last episode was recorded. If that was recorded just before I got sick, or at the break. Because I was sick for about a week, 10 days, and then I had about a week where I was fine, and then it came back again. I don't know if it was the same cold, or I got really unlucky and I picked up another one. Oh, I think it was, because we talked about... Really? That green light was the shortest green light in history. Actually, I could have gone through on that yellow. Never mind. That's right. I did record it in the break, because we're talking about fever dreams. I remember. In case you didn't watch the last episode, that's absolutely fine. You don't have to. There is a playlist that you can find in the description of this video if you want to check them out. No... there's no need to. It's not necessary. All of these can sort of exist as standalone videos. Anyway, yeah, I was talking about fever dreams and how when I get sick, at least, and if I have fevers, I get really bad dreams. And I've been trying to ask other people if they experience the same thing. So yeah, I was still none the wiser on that. I did have one person who I spoke to about it who said that they get fever dreams, not the same ones that I get, but they have the same fever dreams as their father gets. So maybe it's like a hereditary thing. I don't know. A bit strange, but so yeah, if you know what I'm talking about in terms of fever dreams, and you get them too, then feel free to leave a comment below. So no, I'm not the only one. This cab is very, very different to the previous one. The windscreen feels incredibly small. That's because I've got a really long bonnet, sort of taking up a lot of the view.
Stay right, then turn right.
Anyway, so we're going to go and pick up some electrical components here. And then we're going to drive them from Idaho all the way to eastern Texas. Right on the border with, I should know what state borders Texas. Is it Louisiana? I think it is. Was it Mississippi? No. Mississippi is a state, right? It's not just the river. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, I'll show you on the back where we're going. So, just some electrical components. They're not very heavy, but there you go. And yeah, it's taking us all the way on the border. I don't know what these two states are called. I'm sure there's one down here is Louisiana. I don't know. Showing my ignorance. Anyway, we're gonna go through this, and we're gonna go through 5 states: Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. 6 states. There you go. We're going through a little of the newer portion of the map, which is very cool. So let's take the job.
Time to hit the road.
There wasn't a good external contract job for you to take, so that's why I gone for the freight market. Right. Where is this trailer? It's there. I'm going to have to spin round. When I configured this truck, it said maneuverability was very low, so I think in the end I did change some stuff, so it's not as bad as it could have been. If I had an extra axle in here, it'd be really awkward to turn. Hopefully it'll be okay, though. Oh, just missing that forklift. I'm gonna pull forward a bit and then try that again. Fancy leaving a trailer in such an awkward position. I can do that better. There we go. That's better. There we go. As I said, not a very exciting load, but to get used to this truck won't be a bad thing. We've got all the fuel we need. I rested just before I picked up this truck, so we're good to go. How long is this going to take? 27 in-game hours. Sheesh. Okay, so at least 2 rest stops then, if that's the case. 1,600 miles on the dot. Well, no time like the present. We better get going then. It's been quite a long video at this rate. Hopefully there's not too much lag and stuff. I will keep an eye on it as it's going along.
Then turn right.
And it stopped raining too. Perfect. I assume I can turn red on this red light. Oh, right on this red light. We'll give it a go. How well do I turn? Not great. Oh! Almost clipped that car. That would have been awkward. Awkward start to the video. Anyway, I hope you're all well and I hope everything's going fine. So what's been happening? So yeah, I've been a bit... Yeah, so that sickness I had came back with a vengeance. Sore throat, quite a bit of coughing. No fevers, fortunately, so... But still, I wasn't really in the mood to do much. So I did lose, you know... Across the whole month of March, I lost a good 2 weeks easy. That, apart from my normal day-to-day work, I basically did nothing else. I did do some recording in between, but you can really hear it in the recording that my voice is not great at all. I mean, my voice isn't great anyway, let's be honest, but, yeah. You could tell I was sick, but, that's okay. So yeah, not as a productive month as I wanted, but sometimes it just goes that way. I've actually just come off a week off, with the Easter sort of weekend. Had a total of a week off, which is really nice. Didn't do anything in terms of going anywhere. Just kind of needed to recharge the batteries at home, so that was nice. I'm doing quite a bit of studying, so I'm trying to trying to pass the driving theory test, and within the next 2 weeks, I should have done the exam, I hope. So it's going to be the week of the 8th or the week of the 15th. So, yeah, very possibly, within the next 2 weeks, I will have passed the... well, hopefully, I'll do the exam within the next 2 weeks, and hopefully I'll pass it. We'll have to wait and see. I wasn't feeling very confident, but then with the recent sort of batch of studying I did, my scores have been increasing quite a bit. I've got like an app where there's lots of practice tests on there for you. So yeah, it's been the scores are definitely going up, and I have been passing some of them, and the others I've been failing by a very small margin. So if I can keep, hopefully with the rest of this week, I can oh no, I don't need to turn right here. How am I turning right? I'll further up. Okay. If I can get some more studying in, fingers crossed, I should be able to pass it.
Then turn right.
You never know. I'm contending with a sort of a double whammy with it. Learning to, you know, the theory test can always be a little bit tricky, depending on what sort of questions they ask. But also I'm doing it in a foreign language. I'm doing it in Spanish. I mean, I could have done the test in English. They did give me the option to do it in English, but at this point I've studied a huge amount of the book in Spanish, so it'd be weird for me to then suddenly see all the vocabulary in English, even though I'd probably know quite a bit of it. But also it's just a case of, well, I also don't, I mean, I hope the translation will be done correctly, because it's done by, you know, the national, you know, sort of traffic or car, you know, automobile department here. So I'd like to think that the translation would be done correctly, but I didn't want to chance it that the way the translation was done, it would cause me to get the question wrong, if that makes sense. If I misinterpreted what the question was in English. So I thought, I've learned the rules in Spanish, let's just do it in Spanish. If I could have done like the studying of the book and the test in English, I probably would have done it, but...
Then exit right.
And also then it's like, you know, when I come to actually do the practical lessons, right, my teacher's not going to be able to speak English to me. Or I don't expect them to, anyway. So it just makes sense to me that I would learn everything in Spanish.
Turn right.
Turn right, will do. Cool. Just looking on OBS, and it seems a little bit laggy. That's not the case. But anyway. Alright, let's get into the right-hand lane.
Stay right. Then exit
So
right.
we'll see how it goes. And then, hopefully, assuming I pass it, then I want to start practical as soon as possible. So I'm trying to get as much done as I can before the summer months. It might be a bit too ambitious to
Right.
be able to pass the driving test within the next sort of couple of months, but
Turn right.
you never know. Depends on how much progress I make. We'll have to see. You know, playing this game so much, it might come naturally to me. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. I don't play with a wheel or anything, so it's not like I've been practicing with like a pedal board when I'm playing this game. It's not like I can get into the car and just get out the Xbox controller and like, does this work? We'll see, we'll see. If I need to do the test when I come back after the summer, then that's fine. We shall see. So that's that, so I'm focusing on that. What else has been happening? The channel has sort of changed a little bit. I've been experimenting a little bit with some variety content. In the recent sale, I could have turned right on that red light. Never mind, I was talking to you. I'm so used to European rules.
Stay left.
Yeah, in the spring sale on Steam, I
Turn left.
picked up quite a few digital adaptations of board games, and with the aim, firstly, of playing them in the evenings. So I'm not playing, you know, Fear of Dracula until 1 AM or whatever. I know I'm recording this late, but that's kind of an exception. But just to play a sort of a different game just to keep up those skills of playing board games, but with a different setting. Just to keep things fresh. But also, I'm thinking over the summer, because if you don't know, over the summer I take a hiatus, because unless plans suddenly change, I'm going to be, you know, away from my recording gear for about 2 months. So I want to have videos that'll come out on the channel regularly, because I know people will be looking out for them. So I'm going to try and bank up a lot of recordings in advance, which is quite a lot of work, but what I'm thinking of doing is, instead of having just Fear of Dracula content,
Turn left.
and last year I had Gloomhaven content, which took a long time to record then, I'll be able to do maybe one Fear of Dracula video a week, and then so that'll only be about sort of like 10 videos more or less, or maybe about, so let's say 12 to be safe, and then throughout the rest of the week I can put up, say, 2 or 3 episodes of just random board games. And then those videos will only be about half an hour each, kind of thing, or maybe 20 minutes or so. So they'll be much quicker for me to record. And then it means then people who come onto the channel, they can kind of pick and choose what they want to watch. If they see there's a particular board game that they like, then they can check it out. If there's one, then you see it a couple of days later that it isn't, then they don't have to watch it. So I've already created on my channel a playlist where all of these different board games will go. Because I'm not going to be delving too much into the strategy, I'll just be playing the game, either against the AI or against other people. Then they can just be dumped all into one playlist. I think I've called it Scott Sword Plays ... and then I just name the video after whatever the game is. So some videos in there already. I've been playing a game called Quilts and Cats of Calico. I can't remember if I mentioned that in the previous episode. I should have really watched it back so I could remember what I spoke about. Never mind. That is a tile laying game. Basically, you're building a quilt, and you've got various patterns that become available to you of different colors, or different tiles rather. Hexagon-shaped tiles that you can place on your board. And they are of different colors and different patterns. And you gain points by building your pattern, or you're putting all these tiles onto the board in certain configurations. If you group colors together, you get points. If you combine patterns together, you basically make the cats happy. That's where the cats bit of Quilts and Cats of Calico comes in. They become very happy if they like the patterns that you're putting down. And then also there are design tiles in the middle of your quilt, and if you get patterns and or colors to fit around them in the configuration they want, then you get points as well. So it's a really nice sort of chilled out game. I'm not very good at tile laying games. It's not really... I love playing them, but I'm not very good at them. So it's just something, again, just a nice chilled out game I can play in the evenings. The games don't take very long. The cats all walk around on your quilt and you can pet them and stuff. So it's very relaxing, very, very chilled out. I managed to play a game which I recorded against another human player, which was great. And hopefully I can get more. There is a Discord community for it, and even though it's brand new, but there's not a lot of activity in terms of people looking for games, but hopefully I can get some more, because it is a very nice game. The AI actually waiting up for me, that's very nice of them, but there's another 3 lanes I have to contend with here. Are you turning left? Oh, we've been at this junction for a while, and I can't actually see what's coming the other way. That's awkward. Yeah, that white pickup is literally holding up all the traffic in the world for me. You might be here a while. I turned on the traffic mod, and maybe that was a mistake. Come on. I might have to just force my way through. Well, it looks like after this white car that's coming up, there's going to be a gap. And the problem is I can't see the other lane, or the other side. Right, I'm just going to have to risk it. Oh! And that's why you don't do that, people. Oh, that's what happens when you only look one way. Oh, and now the fire truck is literally blocking the way. Well, I mean, it's helped me get out. Oh, man. How far have we driven? 12 miles, and I've already had a crash. Very good, Scott Sword. What a muppet. Right, okay. Well, the video can only go downhill from here, right? I took damage, but I don't think... Did I take a crash penalty for that? I don't think so. Well, anyway. So I'm playing that. That's a nice little chilled out game. While I've been playing, I put out a video of Small World. If you know what Small World is, it's basically, think of Risk, but instead of traditional armies, instead you are controlling little armies of fantasy races, which have their own special abilities, and then they're combined with other special powers to basically break all the rules in the game. Again, very good fun. There's one that my best friend and I play on mobile quite a bit. I've put out a video for Love Letter. Love Letter is very different. It is a sort of deduction, card-playing deduction type game. It's called Love Letter because the premise of the game is you are trying to send your love letter to the princess of the kingdom. But I think she's basically locked herself away in a room. And throughout the course of each day, or each round, basically, you have to try to get your love letter to the most influential person in the kingdom to pass it on to the princess. The princess is obviously the most influential, so that's fine. And then you've got the king is very high up, and then later on you've got the lower ranking, you know, personnel in terms of you've got the priest and the guards and things. And basically, these different characters are cards that you have in your hand that you can play, and they all have their own ability. And the idea of the game is, round each round, you have to try and gain information about what cards the other players have and try to eliminate them. Or, at the end of the game, if you haven't eliminated everybody, you're holding onto the card that has the most influence. Ideally being the princess. But then if you got the princess, people might target you. So, yeah, there's, it's the type of game that my regular board game group and I used to play back when we used to meet for board games before I abandoned them and moved out to Spain. We'd either play it at the beginning of a session if we wanted something as a nice warm-up, or we would play it at the end of a session if we wanted something reasonably quick to play or not very heavy to play, and we didn't want to play something else, but we wanted to play a game of something. And it's great if you're traveling. It's just literally a little bag, and all the cards fit inside the bag, and there's little cubes to represent how many points basically each person has, and that's it. That's the game. So it's very small, it can fit in your pocket basically, and it's a really nice, cool little game. There are some expansions which add extra characters, and they can do it above 4 players or 5 players, but oh yeah, neat little game. There's some other people from the Fear of Dracula community who saw the video and like, oh, we should play it. So hopefully we can arrange a game with them at some point and actually get them on call, and you'll hear us all bluffing around the table and stuff. You can't lie about what roles you'll have, but obviously in between turns you can tease your opponents and the like. So that'd be kind of fun. What other games have I think that, I've recorded Sagrada. That's another one. It's rather than a tile laying game, it's a dice laying game, but it's a very similar premise to Quilts and Cats of Calico, but rather than building or constructing, sewing a quilt, you're actually trying to put together a stained glass window for a cathedral. Oh, I can bypass the way station. Happy days. And you've basically, you're given at the beginning of the game a choice of patterns. So in Quilts and Cats of Calico, there are no building restrictions. You can put your tiles anywhere you want. It'll just depend, do you get points from those configurations or not? In Sagrada, the board that you're filling in changes each game. You get to pick the board that you want at the beginning of the game. Some are more difficult than others. Then you do get a benefit if you pick a more difficult board.
Turn left.
And basically the way it works is, you got all the different colours, all the maybe I think it's 5, right? Yeah, 5 different colours of dice in the game. But you've also got the numbers on the dice when they're rolled, and these represent shading. That's the thematic meaning of them. And yeah, you have to try to fit them onto your board. Some spaces on your board. The light was green, and I was inside my lane, so I don't know what that bus was doing crashing into me. This has gone very well so far, hasn't it? Yeah, less than 100 miles in, and I've crashed twice, and I've got a red light offense. Nice, even though it was green. Although, this view is absolutely stunning. I should really take a picture at some point. We'll do it later on. Oh dear. Anyway. So yeah, Sagrada's a little bit more difficult than... I was going to say Azul, that's a different game, which is tile laying. Cats and Quilts of Calico. Just because you've got these restrictions, and there are then situations later on in the game where you've got illegal moves. However, you've also got some tools that you can use to try to move dice around once you've played them, or to try to re-roll dice if you're not happy with them. It's sort of like an inbuilt currency system. So it's a really neat little game. Again, I've played it in real life. I absolutely suck at it, but, you know, it's something I'll play just to try and challenge myself. I'm going to take a picture here of this river. This is awesome. Oh, I keep forgetting that I can pause it like that. I don't have to stop my truck. I can take a photo, you know, while I'm at speed. Oh wow, these views are awesome. Well, it's much better than the photo I took before I hit recording. It was just literally just me outside that depot or the truck dealership in the rain. Stunning. Take one a little bit higher up so I can get get the river. That's the one. Oh, I have a few to choose from. Sorry, getting distracted by the scenery. You can't see much out of this cab window. I'm sorry about that, but I'm sure some of you might only be listening to this. You're not watching this, and that's absolutely fine. So yeah, those are the games I've played so far, or at least recorded anyway. I'll definitely record more, and you can watch me struggle in some of them.
Take the first exit.
What else have I bought? I picked up a game which is called Raiders of the North Sea. Oh, and I'm crashing into more things. Nice. Yeah, definitely should have done a test run with this truck before recording, but never mind, it's more fun for you guys. Yeah, Raiders of the North Sea is a worker placement game. You are in a Viking clan, and you're trying to... Oi. Just as I say that I've gone over my cold, and then I start coughing. Nice. Ruined the video. Yeah, you're part of a Viking clan, and you're competing with other members of the clan to go off on raids around the map, and to impress the chieftain by collecting the most victory points. This can be done in various ways. By raiding the different areas of the map, you can get victory points for that. You can take all the plunder home from your raids and convert them into victory points as well at the end of the game, or by other means. If your crew members of your little raiding party die on a raid, they obviously get sent to Valhalla, or what was it called, like the Viking afterlife. But you get points for that because the Vikings want to go there. So yeah, it's a really neat little game, and I like it. The fact it is worker placement, but there's a really neat mechanic in it where on your turn, you basically get 2 actions. You get to place your worker meeple on the board to do an action in a certain location, and then you pick up another worker and put it into your hand, and then whichever worker you've picked up, you gain the action of the location that that worker was in. So you basically get 2 actions a turn, which is really neat. So people, it's not like some worker placement games where if someone gets into a location first, they can block you. This doesn't work in the same way, because you can't really get blocked, because you can always then take the action after them to take the worker off. So you gain the benefit of the action, but sometimes the timing doesn't work. As a random example, in order to get more members of the clan to join your crew and to go into your raiding party, you need to pay them with coins. That's the currency. Or I think it's called silver in the game, right? I think it's called silver in the game. But obviously you need the silver before you go to the barracks to hire the crew members. But there might be a situation where you can only do it in the opposite order, if that makes sense. Maybe the silver myth where you get silver is blocked. So you need to, you know what I mean, the timing will be wrong. You can't get this, you can't put down your worker, get silver, and then lift a worker off the barracks to hire a crew member. So it might take you 2 turns to do something rather than 1. And that means then another player, one of your opponents, will then get ahead of you in terms of raiding a place or something. It's really, really neat. And I really like the digital adaptation because the map's really nice to look at. They haven't overcomplicated it. All the information is quite easy to see. There is some information that's a bit hidden, but it means it makes it a little bit more tense when the scoreboard or the scoring comes in. And from what I've heard, a lot of people said that it's quite representative of how the actual board game plays in terms of how it looks and the feel and all this sort of thing. So it's really neat. Again, I'm not very good at it. I'm learning against the AI. I haven't even played against any humans yet. I'm still learning against the medium AI. I had a little bit of a breakthrough this morning. I played 1 game over breakfast, and I beat them by quite a lot this time. I was like, that's the way you beat them. So basically, I tried to rush the end of the game, but I end up losing. So I've basically kind of realized if I can create a situation where the AI doesn't really want to end the game, I'll be able to build up an even bigger lead from them, or ahead of them rather. If you try to rush it, then they just end up blocking the places you want to go, and it becomes very awkward. Right? It also depends on what sort of crew members you get, because they all have different abilities. So there's a real sort of, variety of characters in the game, which is really neat. And I could definitely see it. There are expansions to the game. I don't know exactly what the expansions do, but I could definitely see, new characters being added or new areas of the map being added. So really cool stuff in that game. So that's another one I would definitely bring to the channel. Again, not saying that I'm good at it and an authority on strategy in any way, but definitely bring it to the channel. I have picked up Splendor, which is a game that a lot of people have said is a really sort of good gateway game, but I've never played it, so I'm going to have to learn it. I picked up Mystic Vale, which is a deck building game, which is actually another one of Nomad Games, the people who make Fear of Dracula Digital Edition. It's one of their titles, so I will definitely have to try and learn how to play that and bring it to the channel. That'd be really cool. Trying to think what else I picked up. I picked up so much stuff. I picked up Carcassonne as well, so I'll definitely give that a go. Again, a game I know it's a gateway game, but I haven't really played Carcassonne very much. I've watched more people playing it on YouTube than I have played it myself. So I know the rules, but I'm not very good at it. So again, I'm not very good at these sort of like tile laying and then thinking ahead in terms of what will benefit me in the long run. I'm a bit impulsive in these sort of games. So, but I really enjoy playing them. I just kind of suck at them. But I might play a bit of that for the channel too. Yeah, just to bring a little bit of content to the channel, something a little bit different. Also, then for me, just to try out different games and not just sort of, personally in real life pigeonhole myself into sort of, it just being about one game. the objective of the channel was never to be purely about Fury of Dracula. It was meant to sort of bridge out. But I kind of like this because it means I can just play like one-off games. It's not like Gloomhaven where it was a series. I had to record a video every week, and you know the videos were 1 hour to 2 hours long. And if I failed the mission, I wouldn't show it, and I only showed successful ones, and it was just successful attempts. And yeah, that got quite tiring to do. Very good fun. I think there's a reason I haven't played Gloomhaven since. It's not that I don't like the game. I love the game. I just kind of needed a little break from it because I played it a lot. I will go back to Gloomhaven. Gloomhaven's very fun. Oh, truck. Are you really pulling out in front of me? Yeah, on you go then. I'm trying to think what house I've picked up. There's probably something else, but now I can't remember it. Can't remember. I've also become a little bit more active on Board Game Arena, which is really cool. So yeah, there's a couple of friends I've got who I've been playing games with. I was shown the board game Seasons, which again I'd never seen that one before, but that was really neat. And I got lucky in that one. I ended up with a really broken combo of cards. It took me a long time to get going. I was like, what is happening in this game? And then once I got a couple of cards out, which comboed together really well, it just became really stupid. I was just flooding in resources. So that, I definitely want to play that again at some point. I was showing them, the friend who showed me that, I returned the favour and showed them Heat Pedal to the Metal, which again is another one I want to bring to the channel. There's no digital adaptation, but it's on Board Game Arena. It's a really neat card management game. It's all about, not that I'm a huge racing fan, but it's card management, and it's on a completely different theme with racing, so it's going to be very different, but very, very cool. I want to show off games like Tokaido and Takenoko, because they're games I personally really like playing, so I really enjoy bringing them to the channel. I thought I hit cruise control. Evidently not. I have no idea where we are. I assume we're in Wyoming. It does look very densely populated, so I assume this is Wyoming. But I am none the wiser, I'm afraid. Geography, Wisconsin. So yeah, I'm just going to play a variety of these games. And just, yeah, bring something a little bit different. And it's good for me to, I can just then rotate around different things. And you never know, there'll be people, you know, in my channel who discover something new, they discover a board game that they didn't know before, and they might like it and they want to play it, and that's great. Oh yeah, this truck does well going up hills. I like it quite a bit. I don't know how I feel about the paint job though, I might have to change that. Really? Down to 35? Ugh. No, we are in Wyoming. I just saw the state flag, and I'm lagging. Apologies, people. That is also in-game, by the way. That's not just OBS. That is in-game lag. I'll blame it on the traffic mod. It might just be my computer. It's not the most powerful. Oh, no, it's still green. Will it? No. It's going red. I will not jump another red light. That must have been the shortest green light in history. Either that or I wasn't paying attention for the first, like, 30 seconds of it. So yeah, there's a lot of variety. I also recorded a video recently about Nomad Games' upcoming release, which is going to be called Board Game Cafe. It's still an alpha, so it's very much still, you know, not in the very, very early stages, but you know what I mean, it's not an open beta or anything like that. I'm really intrigued by it because when I first started playing video games when I was, I don't know how old I was when I started playing, maybe like 9 or 10. The first 2 games I really, you know, put a lot of hours into. I'm really glad that there wasn't Steam back then to show, you know, the number of hours that I played. The 2 games were called Roller Coaster Tycoon and Transport Tycoon, which are kind of, as they sound, sort of like these tycoon management simulator type games, where you have in this case, a theme park or a transport company, and you just start from nothing and you try to build up your theme park or build up your transport company to be the best it can be. With Roller Coaster Tycoon, there's a little bit more sort of creativity to it, because obviously you can design your own roller coasters and the design of the park, whereas Transport Tycoon is more sort of like
Stay left. and
just
then turn
connecting things together and just, you know, hiring the trucks or trains that you needed to haul the
left.
goods around, or passengers or whatever. Really good fun. And they're the sort of game that I really would like to go back to in the future, but just, again, just because of busyness and just being preoccupied with other games, I haven't. But I would definitely want to go back to them in the future. Off camera or on camera, I don't know, but probably, I mean, I'd love to do it off camera and just play around. You know, nostalgia. Have lots of, remember all those good memories I had playing those games when I was really young. And creating really epic, you know, routes and roller coasters and stuff. They were probably rubbish, to be honest. They're probably mediocre at best, but to 10-year-old me, they're the most amazing thing. I had so much imagination for building all that stuff, and now my imagination's terrible. Hopefully I can kick that out. Kick that out in terms of like my unimagination, if that makes sense. My lack of imagination. Try and get my imagination back if I can. Obviously back then there were no YouTube tutorials and things, and there was a little leaflet that came in the box that told you how to play it. That's as far as it went. I always remember, I don't know if anybody else is in the same boat, you know, buying a new PC game, and then in the drive back home, I would open the CD case. Yeah, back in the old days, we used to be in CDs, and then later DVDs, and they'd have the little book that'd come in, and obviously I couldn't play the game, you know, driving in the car. So I would just sit there and just read the booklet and learn all about the game, and then install it when I get home. Those were the days. Not like now where there's 1,000 tutorials on YouTube. I get very lazy. The minute I don't know how to do something, I'm like, right, let's look up on YouTube. I've really got to stop that and try and figure out things for myself. But anyway. We're on the highway. Away from the lag, hopefully. I might have to turn down the graphics a little bit, but I don't want to turn them down even any more, to be honest. I don't want the game to look really ugly to look at. I know it's not the best, people, but at the moment, I cannot in any way justify purchasing a new computer. So yeah, I'm sorry, you're stuck with this. I got a new mic though. I don't know if in the last video I had a new mic, but yeah, I've got a new mic now. It is incredibly sensitive. It picks up all the background noise. I have tuned it in terms of how much background noise it picks up, but still, it's so I do apologise for the coughing and stuff. It has got a little mute button at the back, so I can very quickly mute it before I cough, but if I got my hands on the wheel, so to speak, it might not be possible. So yeah, Board Game Cafe. So yeah, I was really intrigued when this came out, or when they announced it rather, because firstly it's the type of game that I grew up on, so I definitely want to try and get back into that sort of genre again. And then also the fact that it's about, you know, Board Game Cafe, and if it wasn't for Board Game Cafes, I wouldn't have got into the world of board games. You know, and the whole thing with Fear of Dracula and all that stuff, that wouldn't have happened if, you know, I didn't start going to Board Game Cafes and got really into the hobby. So yeah, it's really nice to have a game based upon that. And also the really cool feature that's going to be in this game is when the board games that will be in the game are going to be real board games. They're not going to have just like boxes which are like filler. You know, a customer will walk up and take a blue box off the shelf, and that could be any sort of game, whatever, right? The board games are going to be legitimate, you know, licensed board games. So imagine you go up to the shelf and you take a Fear of Dracula off the shelf. or a Takenoko off the shelf, right? I'm not saying those games are going to be in the game, but you know what I mean? That's the idea, right? Board games that you know and love will be in the game. And you can watch the customers play them. I'm going to overtake, because I'm going quite fast. Am I breaking the speed limit? A little bit. Not too much. It was 80 before. That's really neat. And also the fact that when you get these new board games in your board game cafe, you can unbox them. So literally you can open them up and you can look at all of the components. So I think it'll be a really cool way of also then being introduced to board games, and the fact that within the game you can look at them and discover all the different components and all that sort of thing. I thought that's a really neat idea. You know, I haven't played it, so I don't know in terms of, like, you know, if I'm saying that now and then the novelty will wear off or whatever. I don't know. But I think it's a very intriguing thing that they've decided to do, you know, within the basic game. And the really cool thing is too, they've asked the community to suggest board games that they want to see in the game. And I think by the sounds of it, they've received quite a lot of suggestions. They're going to have fun going around trying to get all the licenses and stuff to get those all filled in, or to get them all included. I may have some issues with some of them trying to get, you know, the license for them, but the fact that as a company they've worked with digital adaptation of board games, they've made a little bit of a name for themselves in that department. So they'll also know how to talk to these companies, because they have spoken to these sort of companies before. We are flying, people. I'm so used to only going at 65, because when you do like the external contracts, you have to go at 65 all the way, maximum. Whereas this, on a freight market, you can go at whatever speed you want, within the speed limit, obviously. So yeah, I'm flying at like 78. Yeah, we're somewhere in Wyoming. No idea where. How many miles have we gone already? We're 400 miles in so far. Okay. If we stay on this highway for quite a long time, we'll get there soon. Oh. Oof. Well, it's got good brakes anyway. The cops have stopped somebody on the side of the road, and because of the way the cop cars are positioned, they were blocking part of the inner lane. And because of that, then everything was screeching to a halt, and they were trying to merge into the only lane that was free. Well, it's got good brakes anyway, so I'm happy about that. That could have been disastrous otherwise. Yeah, sorry, this was supposed to be a nice, calm, relaxing video, not me trying to brake from 78 miles an hour as quickly as I can. So sorry about that. So I'm really excited about Board Game Cafe. Actually, as of the time of recording, this is on a Tuesday night. On Wednesday, the marketing developer, I'm going to say, marketing guru of Nomad Games, Tom, the Ancient One, who's been on my channel and had a conversation about Fear of Dracula, he is going to be streaming the game. That's going to be really neat. The fact we can watch him play it, and we can ask questions in the live chat, that's going to be a really cool thing. And you can check it out after the fact. I'll try and leave a link to it if I remember when I'm processing this video. If I do, it'll be in the comments. That's really nice. So I can't wait to see that. The other really exciting thing that has been happening in terms of... So I've realised I've just spoken for the last 40 minutes about board game stuff, but hopefully it's interesting to you all. The other cool thing that has happened recently, very, very recently, is there has been an announcement by Nomad Games for an update. Mate, the AI is trying to literally brake check my vehicle. They want me to make sure that the brakes are working in this thing. I've only just picked it up from the garage. I like to think they were working. That Jeep had no business pulling out. I was clearly going to overtake, or whatever. So yeah, I'll do that again. Stupid AI. Make me lose my train of thought. The developer of the digital edition of Fear of Dracula, Nomad Games, have announced a massive update to the game. And it is so large that it is currently in open beta mode, so members of the community are testing it out and giving feedback. Very exciting stuff. I was a little bit responsible. I can't take too much credit. I was a little bit responsible. Basically, I can't remember when this was now. End of January? February? I literally can't remember. Tom, who I just mentioned, wrote me a message on Discord, because we have quite a lot of communication about various things. And, down to 65, okay. And he asked me if there was a definitive list of all the bugs and issues that we want fixed. They're inside the Nomad Games Discord community, there is a way that players can submit feedback, but still, you know what I mean, it's like over time, so much has accumulated, there might be stuff that hasn't been reported, there might be stuff that's been reported multiple times, so it is quite hard, you know, to keep track of. So he just asked me that as a community, especially of, you know, the tournament players and stuff, rather than just casual players, is there a definitive list? And there was, but it was not written in a way that was going to be easy for Nomad to read. It was more from a tournament perspective, here are things you have to worry about. So I had to then very quickly rush, and I got amazing help from one of the other members of the community to quickly put together a document, because I was like, I don't want to lose this window of opportunity, because basically Nomad have been saying for the last like 2 years basically that they want to fix certain aspects of the game, but they just didn't have time, because they're a small company and they had, you know, to dedicate their resources to other things, like, you know, they've just done the console version of Catan, and because of that, that was a huge priority for them. That was a huge coup for them to get that. So they've been rightly so. They've been focusing on that, and they thought maybe only Fear of Dracula would be able to get updated with a Switch version, you know, where they were going to be guaranteeing some sort of sales from it. But then suddenly, you know, because timelines sort of worked out that way, and also just because there's been a lot of interest in the game in the community because of, you know, the tournaments we've been running and all the content we've been producing, and, you know, there has been an influx into the community, and maybe people who've been playing it, you know, outside the community as well. They were like, right, this is the right time, let's do an update. So I really quickly put together a document for them, and then set it off, and then I've been, once that document got received from Nomad, and I'm lagging, this could be really bad. Nope, that's fine, all good. Once that document got received by Nomad, I ended up getting put into contact with the developer, who's going to be responsible for doing all, or if not all, you know, the vast majority of the changes. And it's really good to communicate with them, and they can see how passionate, you know, I and, you know, many other members of the community were about the game. And yeah, they were working on it, and, you know, periodically I'd get a little message to say, oh, I've got a doubt about this particular point you've raised, can we discuss it? And then we discussed it a little bit, and then that was it. And I had no idea in terms of progress how things were going. Were they actually, you know, working a lot on it? Was it going well? Because we gave them a massive list of loads of different things that we wanted, you know, there were bugs which needed fixing, but also the game is very complicated in terms of the interactions of different events, and unfortunately the rules documents that come with the physical board game in certain situations don't do a very good job of explaining these things. So that's a problem. However, you know, we try to get through it the best we can, and there's certain things where we're like, the wording's a bit vague, we have to interpret it a certain way, which is really awkward when you're trying to make a digital edition of the game. You want the rules to be really clear and obvious, and not having to be guessing all the time. What do they mean by this ruling? What would be the situation if these two things interact with each other? Yeah, I know the AI had just crashed back then. I'm just going to pretend I didn't see it. So yeah, there's a lot of things I went, you know, to consider. But basically, yeah, I heard very little. It was kind of like a little bit, not radio silence, but you know, I didn't know how things were progressing. I wasn't kept in the loop in that sense. And then suddenly, last Thursday, I want to say Thursday, yeah, last Thursday, I was just minding my own business. I was doing, I think I'd done like a whole day of practice driving, you know, theory tests, and I was doing the last one, but I was getting pretty tired. And then suddenly this Discord message pops up. It's from Tom, and he's just like, "Oh, here's an announcement. Do you want to put it on the Discord?" And I was announcing this beta, and I just lost my shit. I was just so happy, and just I couldn't concentrate on anything. I was jittering with excitement. I was just ecstatic, and so much has been fixed. So much has been fixed. And it's yeah. I couldn't believe that so much had been fixed from the document that we'd given back in terms of feedback. I'll have to pull in here. Yeah, it's here. And yeah, it's just awesome to see this all sort of come together. You know, all the hard work that the community has put in terms of, you know, reporting these things, providing information to me in terms of, you know, rulings on certain things that maybe I would interpret a different way, and just the overall sort of, you know, enthusiasm for the game has just been fantastic. And it gave, you know, and also then for Nomad to be really sort of, you know, transparent and to be in contact with us, and, you know, and even now, especially with this open beta, you know, now in progress, there's been a lot of contact between the players, not just me, but other players when they're reporting bugs or feedback, and, you know, Tom and the developer are there in, you know, in the Discord being really active, and it's really great to see. There are some things that haven't been fixed that I want to be fixed, but at the same time, I'm just really happy that things have been fixed. We're moving in the right direction. There's a really positive communication between, you know, the community as a whole and Nomad, but also particularly between myself and Nomad, because there are some things that are behind the scenes that maybe other community members don't know. There's very positive communication, and, you know, we're operating very much under the, you know, we'll see what happens kind of thing. Nomad haven't promised me anything. I don't expect them to. But as long as there's communication between us, it's going to be really healthy. So, and anything obviously as a community that we can do to help them, they know that we're here. So, all round, it's just been a very, you know, positive, you know, it's always been positive with Nomad, but, you know, in particular, it's really sort of stepped up the last sort of 2-3 months as they became really involved with the game again, which is great. I hope more things will be fixed, but we'll see what comes around the corner. You know, I'll probably be the first to know, or one of the first to know, but at the same time, I'll probably be in as much shock as everybody else. It's quite funny, actually, when I was talking to people, you know, after the beta was released, and people saying to me, "Oh, you swine, you knew this was happening all along." I was like, well, I knew that there was things were being changed, but I had no idea what was being implemented, what could be implemented, because some things are very difficult to fix. I don't understand coding, so I don't know what was possible within the time frame that we're talking about. I didn't know what sort of time frame they had available. So I was in as much shock as everybody else when the beta announcement came out. I didn't know. I didn't know that the beta would happen, and that there would actually be an update, and it would come out at that very day. I had no idea. I was none the wiser. So yeah, I was I was caught off guard as much as everybody else was. That's great. I kind of prefer it that way. It'd be really awkward for me knowing, you know, a few days in advance and having to keep it under wraps. It'd be kind of annoying. I just want to tell people. But no, in general, there seems to be, you know, a very sort of positive, you know, understanding between us. It's great to have that sort of relationship with, you know, the developing company. It's very easy for them to just go, nah, you got your digital edition, fuck off. We're not doing anything else, we're moving on to other projects. Oh shit, I need to turn off here.
Exit right.
Go straight ahead. Perfect.
Stay left.
Well, it's a bit late, Doug. I would have smashed into the barrier if you told me to change lanes. So I've been very impressed by the whole thing. It's just great to be part of it, and this is not what I was expecting to happen when I started. I picked up Fear of Dracula, you know, just over 2 years ago. I had no expectation of setting up a YouTube channel. I had no expectation of setting up tournaments. I had no idea that, you know, then 2 years later I'd be talking to, you know, the developers of the game in terms of, you know, fixing things and all this sort of stuff. But that's how it's turned out, and you know, I'm not complaining in any way. Just funny how things turn out. Oh, I need to turn off here, mate. Just get past me fast, please. There we go. Thank you.
Stay left.
Will do. So yeah, very exciting stuff with the beta. The cool thing is with the beta, it's not just fixing bugs. It is actually quite a lot of rule implementation errors have been fixed, and as a result, it's really going to change the way that the game is played. We have been playing, well, ever since the game's been released, but I'll say it for myself because I joined the community 2 years ago. I've more or less been playing for 2 years, you know, not really thinking about the physical board game very much because I only had maybe 1 or 2 playthroughs of it. So I've become very, very accustomed to the digital edition way of playing and the meta that therefore builds around that. Because of the way the game is played, from a physical, mechanical standpoint, that then influences very much, you know, the way that event cards get played, how item cards get played, what item cards are strong, etc. There are certain things, I won't go into full details here, but the way that the game is going to be played is going to be a little bit different. The way Dracula moves is going to be different, the way Dracula can strategize will be a little bit different, but it's not because we're trying to buff Dracula with these changes, we're just trying to create a digital edition that is more representative of the physical board game and is a better replication of the physical board game. If the meta changes and it means that Dracula suddenly becomes overpowered, quote unquote, I'll say strong, as a higher win rate than the hunter side, then so be it. And as a community, in terms of our tournaments and stuff, we can, you know, adjust certain parameters within the game to make it more balanced. But that's not the job of the developers necessarily to do that. They want to create, you know, we had this conversation in terms of what is going to happen. You know, is it going to cause a huge shift in the meta? And it might well do. We don't know yet. We've only played a handful of games on the beta, so who knows? I'm only going off my gut feelings here. But again, I'm a scientist. I'm driven by numbers. If the numbers say something, and if the numbers contradict what I think, then okay, then I was wrong. So we'll have to wait and see what the numbers say and how, you know, the general consensus of the community, not just myself playing the game, but you know, the whole community playing it. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. If suddenly one side becomes stronger than the other, then we'll have to adapt things. That's absolutely fine. But that'd be a really cool job to do. And to see it sort of all play out. So a little bit awkward because literally right before this beta was coming out, I was already trying to organise another tournament. We've got the New Blood Championship still ongoing, which is a tournament for newer players, which has been going very well. We're in the semi-final stages now, so we're getting towards the end. And I was thinking, well, because a lot of the more experienced players haven't had an opportunity to play, let's do a quick tournament for them. But now this beta's come out, and that's kind of thrown things up in the air a little bit. The other big news from it, though, is that I have very recently recruited 2 members of the community to work alongside me as tournament admin. Partly because there's different reasons. I kind of needed some American representation on the team because the majority of the player base currently... really? You wanted me to go off the highway for no reason? I mean, I'm going to go off the highway because I want to rest. There's a rest stop right here. But I should have just stayed on the highway, Doug.
Go straight.
That's weird. No cars. Very nice. So it's just turning dark. I don't know what time it is.
Never mind. I'll find a new route.
Oh, 10 o'clock. Perfect. So it means I can take a rest. And then I'll wake up. It'll be like 7 a.m., something like that. So we'll have another run all in the daylight. So this is working out perfectly.
Stay left, then turn left.
With 2% damage already. Yikes.
Turn left.
Yeah, we'll do. Oh, I cut that corner quite a bit.
Get ready to turn right.
Will do. I assume... is this where I want to go? Oh, truckers. Nope. I want to go into this one. Do I need fuel? No, I don't.
Finding new route.
Don't need to find a new route, Doug. I'm just gonna...
Turn right.
I'm just gonna rest. I'll be on our way again. And nighttime. Be careful for the flashbang. Ooh, right. Right. 8 a.m. Perfect. Let's get going.
Rerouting. Recomputing. Never mind. Okay, let's find a new route.
So yeah, so as I said, yeah, so I need some American representation on the team just because the majority of the player base currently is American. It's kind of, it goes through stages. We get quite a lot of Americans joining, then suddenly quite a lot of Europeans join, and then, but in terms of the tournament player base, a lot of them are American. So,
Stay left.
sometimes it can be, sometimes it can be a little bit awkward for me as a European that quite a lot of the matches are played when I'm sleeping, which in theory shouldn't cause any problems, but if there's suddenly an emergency situation in terms of, you know, a game has crashed or whatever, and the players want guidance about how they can solve the issue or how they should go about things, I'm not there to deal with it immediately. Which again is not necessarily a problem, but you know, the longer it takes to respond to things, then that could cause an issue. So... really? I just did an inspection. Oh, for goodness sake. Okay, fine.
Stay left.
I'll do it, I'll do it. Oh, come on, AI. Good grief. So, yeah, that's going to be a huge help, especially now having two of them, which is great. But also, it's just a case of the other person who was working alongside me, in terms of tournament admin, had to drop out a little bit, just because of heavy workload and stuff. So, I've been running the New Blood Championship on my own, which has been fine. But it is a lot to do, the fact I'm, like, catering the YouTube playlist, and organising the tournament, and then if there's any issues with players, I have to deal with it, and I have to process the results, and do like promotion for it. It's quite, and then I have to manage the Discord server and everything. Oh, that truck just disappeared in front of me. Nice. Very, very realistic. So it is a lot for one person to do, and I'm not complaining in that sense. You know, I love doing it, but, and also then, you know, I'm also recording games, I'm doing commentary. I haven't done as much commentary as I used to, just because a lot of the games have been played late at night, so I haven't been able to do it, but there have been other members of the community who have done it, which is fantastic. Also nice just to hear different voices talking about games, rather than just me droning on all the time. But... you know, it is a lot of work, and then I do want to play the game. I've barely played in the last year. I don't play consistently. I might play a few games, then I stop. I want to get back to playing the game, especially now with this new meta developing. I really want to be kind of, you know, as a lot of players will be, but also the fact I've got my YouTube channel. Come on, Mustang. Hurry up. There you go. So I've got the YouTube channel. I really want to kind of, you know, really be, you know, heavily involved in terms of, you know, really experimenting with this, you know, update. I'll probably have to do quite a lot of videos on my channel talking about, you know, certain things, updated strategy, as certain event or item cards become stronger because of the meta or weaker, then I want to talk about it. You know, I really want to be involved in it. So, you know, that means I'm going to have to play the game, you know, frequently to do that. And also, I want to get back into competing again. I don't know how many more tournaments I can compete in, but I miss competing. And you know, I've got my reputation to defend here. You know, I'm not unbeaten in tournaments. You know, the 2 tournaments I've entered, I ended up winning them. So I'm really, you know, passionate about trying to keep playing and, you know, try to show the new guard that, you know, the old dogs still have the tricks. You know. But, you know, we'll see. You know, there's a lot of good players around these days. I wouldn't expect to win. I like to think I'd be up there, but winning is going to be so tough. There's so many good players now, and they're playing more frequently than I am. So immediately that, you know, puts me at a bit of a disadvantage. But we'll see. So if I can try to compete in this little tournament we're doing now with the beta, then that'd be great. If I can try to take part in the next World Championship, then that's great. But that will only happen if I am not the lone admin. If I'm the lone admin, it's just too much work to do. If I want to try to do everything else well, which I take a lot of pride in, I want to run the tournament well, I want to promote it well, and, you know, if players have problems, I want to have energy in order to deal with those issues. You know, I can't do that and play and commentate and be a lone admin. So it's kind of important for me too, just for my workload, that I have a couple of other people to share it out with. And it means then we can all do it well. So yeah, it's really exciting. I've got a meeting with them tomorrow, so that's going to be really cool, just to chat to them properly and, you know, get them all up to speed. But I'm really looking forward to working with them. So yeah, it's all developing. I think everything's motoring on. Talk about motoring. We are motoring along this highway at 77 miles an hour. We're halfway through, folks. So I guess, yeah, I lost quite a bit of time at the beginning trying to pick up the trailer, so I guess another 50 minutes-ish or so, and then we'll be there. Yeah. Decent. So I guess then, if that's the case, since we've got quite a lot of time ahead of us, I've got some other topics I can talk about, but I might leave them be for now. We'll see. The one thing I did want to talk to you about was a little bit of a musical discussion. I know I've had some of them before. The one that I did mention a couple of videos back, again, if you didn't watch it, doesn't matter, no problem, was to talk about my Desert Island Discs. I can bypass this way station, yes. So if you don't know, I can give a quick recap. Desert Island Discs is a really famous radio program. I think it's still ongoing. I assume it has. I haven't heard anything of the contrary. From the BBC, from my country. And the idea of the show is it's a very basic premise. A famous person goes onto the show each week. They are put onto, or they are going to be sent to an imaginary desert island somewhere. And they can only take 8 songs with them and a book and a luxury item. And they just talk about their song choices and they listen to them. So it's something that I've done with my best friend a few times, where we've, I think, yeah, we did it about 5 years ago, I think, 5-6 years ago, where we put together our own Desert Island Disc playlist. But obviously over time, you know, things evolve and your choices change, right? So I thought what I could do today was talk to you about my Desert Island Discs. These are going to be songs. I do want to do one for albums at some point, but that's going to be some more work for me. I'm going to have to listen to a lot of stuff to try to cement my choices. So I'm going to do songs today. I've been thinking about it over the last couple of days. I put a little playlist together. The thing is, it's like a lot of things. If you ask me this in 6 months' time, something might have switched. I think a lot of these are very set in stone, but there's quite a few that maybe could switch around depending on the day of the week. Right? You asked me on. Oops, I am going off the road. That's not very helpful, is it? I will say though, I've cheated a little bit. I've picked 10 songs and not 8. 8 is just way too. I can try and think about it while I'm driving. Which 2 I would chop from this list. It's always the same in the radio program. They always ask like, which is the one? If the 8 discs were in danger of going into the sea and there's only one you could rescue, which one would you take? That's a bit difficult one to answer. So we'll get into it. I won't provide a huge amount of analysis for each song, but still, just to give you a rough idea, I will leave the list in the description. I would give you a Spotify playlist, but the only Spotify playlist I have is my own personal account, and I don't want to be sharing that. But I will at least leave the names of the bands and songs in the description, and if you want to check them out in your own time, then feel free. Feel free to leave below as well your own Desert Island Discs playlist, if you so wish. So the first song, probably no real surprise to people who've listened to some of the other episodes or people who know me personally. It has to be The Sound of Madness by Shinedown. They were my first sort of real sort of musical epiphany, the first band really, I mean, I say obsess, thoroughly obsessed over. I listen to them daily, like easily, and just, you know, as soon as I finish one album, I listen to it again, or I just literally put all the songs into a playlist and then play on random, you know, every permutation of listening to Shinedown songs that you can imagine, I did it. So that was definitely a huge thing for me between the age of like 17 and 19, 20. There was a good 2.5 year stretch where I almost exclusively listened to Shinedown. There were some other things mixed in, but more or less it was always Shinedown. I don't listen to them as much now, but I have been listening to them a little bit more recently, actually. And I listened to a really good video that the singer Brent Smith did, because it's the 20th anniversary of Leave a Whisper, their first record. Well, it is, or it was around, you know, the last sort of, you know, maybe it's this year or it's very recent. I should know what year. I think it was 2003 that came out. So it was towards the end of last year he did this video. Anyway, he went onto a radio station in America and he basically did a track by track of all of the songs on Leave a Whisper, and he chatted about them. It was actually really cool to hear some of the background of those songs. And there's a lot of stories there that I didn't even know about. And he talks about the writing process and all this sort of thing, and how many people were involved in that album. Because he was still a very raw songwriter, so he was put together with very experienced songwriters to try to sort of, you know, really hone his talents and really try to get, you know, the lyrics out of him that he wanted. So it's hard to pick one Shinedown song, but I mean, Sound of Madness is Sound of Madness, right? From the minute the drums kick in at the beginning, it just, you know, really fills you with adrenaline. It's short, it's to the point, it's, you know, pounding rock all the way, and, you know, never get tired of listening to it. There's so many songs I could have picked, but yeah, Sound of Madness, from the album The Sound of Madness, is the first album I ever listened to. There's Devour was the first song on the album, then Sound of Madness kicked in, and there you go. It takes me back to that time, you know, when I was younger. Still young, but when I was younger, and hearing that, and it's still awesome. So, had to have a Shinedown one in there. There's no way I could have had, even though Shinedown now are not my favourite band anymore, just because things have changed a little bit. I could not have Shinedown on the list. The next song is going to be from my favourite band, and if you're listening to some of the other episodes, which I've done of this series, you'll know exactly which band it is. That is Alter Bridge, another American band. I discovered them because, you know, Shinedown did a tour with them in the UK, which unfortunately I didn't get to see any of the concerts of, but I became aware of Alter Bridge, started listening to them, and just slowly over time, as I kind of got used to the sound, and I kind of appreciated the guitar a bit more rather than just the overall sound of the song, I came to really, really like their stuff. They're not as... You know, when you see them live, they're not as active. Shinedown has put on a very good live show, by the way. Very active, full of energy. Alter Bridge not so much. Even though they're a similar age, they're a little bit mellower in terms of their stage performances now. Not as much pyrotechnics, not as much, you know, theatrics, so to speak. But very cool musicians. And they write really good songs. And compared to Shinedown, they're prepared to go that little bit longer. They'll write, you know, a good sort of 3.5 minute, 4 minute radio friendly, you know, rocker, but then they'll happily do something which is 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes now, you know, where they're sort of becoming a little bit more experimental, a little bit. I'm not calling them prog in any way, shape, or form, but just that little bit more adventurous. And the two styles, you know, you got the heavy thrash metal of, you know, background of Tremonti, and the more bluesy, jazzy stuff of Myles just blending together, and it's very, very cool to listen to. So again, it's very hard for me to pick just one Alter Bridge song, but at the same time, it was a difficult choice, but it's also a very easy choice. For me, the only one I could listen to if I was on a desert island would be Cry of Achilles. It's the opener from Fortress, which is my favourite album, so it had to be a song from that album. It's 6.5 minutes long. You've got acoustic guitar in the intro. You got a bass-only riff in the middle. You've got two amazing guitar solos. It has peaks and valleys. It goes, you know, it breaks the convention of what a normal rock song is. Yeah, it's wonderful. That's all I'm gonna say. It's perfect. Anyone who's listened to it, then you know what I'm talking about. It's not your average rock song, anyway. So that's Cry of Achilles. Then for the next three, we are going into even more sort of, you know, epic length territory. The next three songs combined, let's see if I can do very quick maths in my head. The next three songs combined are 40 minutes long. So yeah, you're not going to get your average, you know, 3-minute radio songs here. I had to pick something very, very heavy. People who know me personally, or people who've spoken to me about music, know that I do like really heavy stuff. Even though Alter Bridge are my favourite band, I would say that my favourite genre of music is definitely heavier than that. Looking towards sort of, you know, melodic death metal, especially looking at sort of Scandinavian metal where they're blending other things in there, like folk in there, but growling vocals, but also still maintaining melody. You know, not thrashing for the sake of thrashing, or screaming for the sake of screaming, but you know, that guttural vocals becomes part of the instrumental, adds another dimension to everything. So again, a hard one to pick. I think over time, as there's lots of bands that I've kind of neglected recently from that I would probably pick instead, but at the moment, I'd have to pick a song of Opeth. Oh shit, I need to exit. Bollocks. Hold that Opeth discussion for 1 second while I get into the lane. Oh, that would have been bad. Will do. Anyway, so yeah, I had to pick something from Opeth. They are, if you don't know them, they are a Swedish genre. They started off sort of black metal, death metal combo, but then they transitioned into sort of more progressive melodic death metal, and then now they've dropped all the sort of screaming guttural vocals and have become more sort of a, what do you call them, prog rock, heavy prog rock type of band. They've really changed their style recently. Oh, I say recently, it's not really recently, it's over the last 4 albums. The singer and the main songwriter, Michael Ackerfeld, basically got tired of death metal and screaming vocals, and he didn't really listen to that sort of music in his free time. He was listening to jazz and folk and, you know, traditional English prog and all this sort of stuff. So it's just natural that it would just sort of, you know, that he would just soak all of that in, and then it would really be reflected in his writing. And over time, you can hear the transition, right? That they became not less heavy, but they were incorporating lots of different aspects to it, and they weren't afraid to become. Their songs were always long, but the fact that they would then try to incorporate more sort of progressive elements into them, rather than just the same riff over and over, right? And then they transitioned completely, where they dropped the growling vocals. That being said, in concerts he'll still do them. He just doesn't write new material with them. And I don't click with that music as much. But again, I can't fault the musicianship. It's just it doesn't click with me the same way. Especially when I was discovering it, like I wanted heavy. I'm undertaking all of this traffic. I feel really bad about it, but if they're not gonna go into the right-hand lane, then what am I gonna do about it? So, yeah, I wanted heavy stuff. So again, difficult. I mean, Blackwater Park is probably the most sort of, you know, the one that most of the fans say, right? Either the song itself or the album. For me, my favorite album of Opeth would be Still Life. It's the one before Blackwater Park. There's just something about it that I just click with a bit more. And again, I don't understand. It's a whole concept album about this woman called Melinda. I don't know the story. I haven't tried to understand it. But musically, I love it from start to finish. But favorite song, I would take, or I would choose rather, Deliverance, which is the title track from the album called Deliverance, which was the one after Blackwater Park. Just before I started recording this, I looked up a little article of interviews with Michael Ackerfeld, the singer-songwriter for Opeth, and he was talking about this and how Deliverance was an album that was recorded at the same time as another album that came after it, which was called Damnation. The two are very much like Light and Day. Deliverance is heavy, probably one of the heaviest albums. But then you got Damnation, which is more mellow, progressive rock kind of sound. They weren't meant to be released as the same album, but then they kind of realised, nah, we want to split it into two, and they were about 6 months apart, something like that. Deliverance is the title track from the Deliverance album, and it's just 13 and a half minutes. The end portion of it, the outro, like I call it, the outro is like 4 minutes long. It's longer than most songs you hear on the radio these days, and that on its own has become almost, you know, the outro of Deliverance has its own cult following inside the Opeth, you know, fan community. It's just incredible stuff. Crazy sort of lyrics about obsessive love and this almost kind of, I don't know if it's meant to be like this serial killer type character or something along those lines. Clearly somebody, I mean, the whole idea about Deliverance is being like being set free, right? So clearly there's some, not demonic stuff, but clearly some evil intentions and stuff going on. But it's called death metal, right? What do you expect? Here's the thing, like, when you listen to Michael Ackerfeld speaking interviews, he is like the most softly spoken guy you've ever met, and he's like the most chilled out guy. It's kind of like the same, like, Ian Rankin, the Scottish crime writer, said about crime novelists. That crime novelists will be the nicest people you could ever meet, because they get all of their anger and evil thoughts out onto the page, and when you meet them in real life, they're really nice. Which makes you wonder then what would happen if you meet a romantic novelist, I suppose. Assume this is going to work? Okay. I don't know, there are toll roads in America. This is outrageous. Oh, we're in Oklahoma. Are we in Oklahoma or heading to Oklahoma City? I don't know. Oh, no, we're in Kansas, because there's a thing there for Kansas City. Okay. So we must be in Kansas there, if that's the case. This is a road I've never been on before, so this is very exciting. yeah, so crime writers get all their nasty thoughts and things out on the page. It must be the same with death metal musicians. um, so yeah, crazy stuff. But anyway, it's just even if you don't even think about it, you know what the lyrics mean. The instrumentation is just incredible and kind of crazy. It sounds so good when you listen to interviews about it, and the band was in turmoil. Michael Ackerfeld was exhausted trying to write this album. The other guys weren't really helping him. They're all just sort of fucking off and doing their own thing. So the fact that they wrote, I mean, the whole album is fantastic. The fact that they wrote such a masterpiece of a song is kind of ridiculous, to be honest. But, well, there you go. And it's just the drum. I mean, I'm not a drummer. I mean, I'm not a guitarist either, but I don't really understand drums very much. But the drum sound is just awesome, and the bass drum in particular is just pounding throughout the song. And just at the end, there's a very sweet moment as you've got this really heavy outro riff, and there's just this really solid piano sound. It almost sounds like just one note, and it just kicks in, and it provides so much atmosphere. It just also just lifts the whole song. It's so strange to explain, but every time I listen to it, that my ear always catches that piano note, and it's just so awesome. There's guitar solos through it. It's going in all different directions. You've got a little bit of a mellower section, then it really kicks in to the heavy part again. It's a journey. And I had to pick something from Opeth. Had to pick something heavy. So that's it. That's definitely the heaviest song on the list in terms of, you know, vocal heaviness and probably riffage as well. I'm pulling into yet another way station. This is very infuriating. Oh well. Is what it is. I assume we're in Kansas. I can't see the state flag. It has Kansas written on it. Oh well, at least that's helpful that I can read the state. I can work out what state we're in just by reading it. Not having to guess what the seal is on it. Obviously, Texas doesn't need to write the word Texas on its flag. You know you're in Texas when you see that flag. So that was Deliverance. 13.5 minutes. That's not even the longest song, by the way. The next one is a older song. We're going back in time a little bit. We've had quite a lot of modern stuff there. Deliverance, I think, was recorded mid-2000s, if I remember rightly. Sound of Madness was 2010. Cry of Achilles, I think, was 2012. So we're going a little bit back in time now with the next one, and it's a song called Stargazer from the band Rainbow. This is terrible. I can't remember when this song was made. I should have written this down. 70s or 80s. We're talking about that time period. Richie Blackmore, you know, of Deep Purple fame, with Ronnie James Dio. It's a band that I haven't listened to very much, and it pains me terribly that I have not listened to much of Ronnie James Dio in general, but particularly of Rainbow, because this song is just incredible. This is one of the sort of classic, you know, early heavy metal songs that I personally had neglected for a very long time and had never really heard of. If you told me Richie Blackmore, Ronnie James Dio, I would have known who that was. But in terms of the band Rainbow, nah, don't have a clue. No idea. And it was only, I was watching actually a YouTube video from a guy called Rick Beato, who is a music producer, but he's now got a YouTube channel and he talks about rock music and he does analysis of songs. And he always does videos looking at the Spotify pop charts, and he normally complains about how bad it all is. He was also, funny enough, Rick Beato, he contributed to part of Shinedown's first album. He did some songwriting with Brett Smith, which I thought was really cool to find out. Anyway, he was doing a video, and I can't remember how it came up. He was talking about drummers or something, and he said, oh, this is the best drum intro of any song, blah, 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 and he showed a little clip of Stargazer, and I was like, what on earth is that? But I thought that drum intro is really, really cool. I need to listen to that. And I did, and I'm hooked. I love Stargazer. It's awesome. It's a epic 8-minute long story, basically, about a wizard who enslaves a vast number of people to build him I can't remember if it's a pyramid or a magic tower, because he wants to fly. So once the tower is done, thanks to the, you know, blood, sweat and tears of all the slaves that he's got under his command, he tries to fly from the tower, but you could probably guess what happens next, right? So, yeah, it's, you know, story of pride and greed and all this sort of stuff. But very epic. Dio is just, I get it. He's a singer who I've just neglected to listen to, but I really need to sit down at some point and listen to more of his stuff, because it's just incredible. And just in the rock and metal community, he has such a presence, and you know, he's always spoken about his just sheer ability. And then you combine it with Richie Blackmore on guitar, and I love the guitar solo because it's very long, very moody, but again, similar to another selection I've got later on in the list, it's not one of these like really flashy guitar solos, partly because of the era that it was recorded in, but he wasn't trying, especially in the beginning part of the solo, he wasn't trying to show off by playing 1,000 notes a second. He was letting, you know, just 1 or 2 notes, but express as much as possible. And I think that's a really cool thing to listen to. A guitar solo doesn't have to be something that, you know, as I said, goes 100 miles an hour. You can express so much with just a few notes. And yeah, later on it does become a little bit more shreddy, but again, it's the era it was recorded in. And it's very, very cool. So yeah, I need to listen through the rest of that album and more of Dio's stuff. It's just awesome. So yeah, Stargazer by Rainbow. That was track number 4. Track number 5 is the longest. I know some of you might have a heart attack when I describe how long this song is. I was actually a few days ago. I was. Do I have to turn off here? Yeah, it looks like it. I don't know, but I'm turning off. Oh no, I'm not. The road's blocked. Oops. Well, that was stupid. Why did you think I had to turn off? Maybe I misheard Doug. Don't know. I'm just thinking about music too much. Oh, I did have to turn off. Alright, but it was a diversion. Okay, that's probably the first diversion I've ever had in this game. Oh, did 2 trucks have a collision or something down there? I don't know. Yeah, so this is the longest song. A few days ago, I was listening to Freebird by Lynyrd Skynyrd with somebody, and with a friend of mine, and she's not a huge music fan. I mean, she is, but not in terms of, like, you know, analytically, so like I am. And she was like, "This is really long. Is this the same song, or is it just repeated?" And I was like, "No, it's like 7 minutes long." Which obviously is a long song. At which point I pointed out that there's an album that I like by I think, oh goodness, I'm gonna get this wrong. Are they Swedish or Finnish? I think they're Finnish. A Finnish band or Swedish band called Insomnium, and they've got an album called Winter's Gate, which is one song which is 40 minutes long. And the look on her face was priceless. This one is not 40 minutes long. It's not the whole of Winter's Gate. It is half that length. It's 18 minutes long, and it's called Empire of the Clouds, which is a song by the legendary Iron Maiden. And there's so many Iron Maiden songs I could have picked. They've got all their classic era, right? Number of the Beast, The Trooper, Rime of the Ancient Mariner, what else? Alexander the Great, Power Slave, Phantom of the Opera. There's so many songs I could have picked. So it might seem weird that I've picked a more modern one, but this is my favourite song by Iron Maiden. Now again, I'm a little bit kind of biased in my selection just because I discovered Iron Maiden with this album, which is called The Book of Souls. It came out... I don't know when it came out. That's terrible. I want to say 2012, but I really don't know if that's right. I'd never listened to Iron Maiden before. Again, just because I was listening to like modern stuff like Shinedown and Breaking Benjamin and Evanescence and all this sort of stuff. I hadn't listened to the classic things. I've just realised I'm about to turn right and I'm lagging. Oh yeah, my OBS is annoyed with me because of encoder settings. So I think something's turned up a little bit too high. I apologise, people. There's only I bought a Classic Rock magazine, which is a publication from the UK, and it was at that time. It was at Christmas when they were doing like their best albums of the year, and the winner that year was Book of Souls by Iron Maiden. And obviously I'd heard of Iron Maiden; it was in my consciousness, but never really listened to them. And I was like, oh well, I'm gonna have to go and check out these guys. If they've been named with the album of the year, it can't be that bad. So yeah, I bought Book of Souls, and I really liked it. And then I went back to all their classic stuff. And I'd say in general as an album, Book of Souls is not their strongest. The songs are very long on that album. It does become a little bit meandering after a while. But, you know, I went back and listened to all the classic stuff, which is amazing. There's still a lot of albums from them I haven't listened to because their discography is very long. I do like their stuff. Again, a band I don't listen to enough. I should listen to them more often. If I was going to pick an album, I'd probably say Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. Oh, man. Either that or Power Slave. Oh, I'm picking that, so it doesn't matter. But still, my favourite song from them is Empire of the Clouds, which is the last song on Book of Souls. An 18-minute epic. The cool thing with Iron Maiden is you learn a lot of stuff from their lyrics. They don't write their songs about sex and drugs and rock and roll. A lot of it is based on historical events. So they did one which was called The Trooper, which is, I'm going to get this wrong, this is terrible. It was a battle in one of the British-Russian wars that happened a long time ago, and I can't remember what it's called. The event was called, I think, is it the Charge of the Light Brigade? Is that a thing? Oh, I'm gonna get slaughtered in the comments now if I got that wrong. Anyway, so they and also there's a song, as I said, about Alexander the Great, right? The Greek, leader. So they really draw from sort of historical events. Something you don't maybe know about Bruce Dickinson, the singer of Iron Maiden. He is a certified pilot, and so much so they have their own Boeing, I want to say 737, that's probably not right, no, 747, one of the big jumbo jets anyway, and they use it as the band's jet, and he actually flies them around when they're on tour and stuff, or going between continents. So he loves aviation, it's one of his passions. So Empire of the Clouds is all about an airship from, I'm going to say 100 years ago. I'm not sure exactly when, but the airship era was kind of 1920s, right? 1920s, early 1930s. I guess when the Hindenburg disaster happened, that kind of really sort of put pay to all that. That was early, sort of mid-1930s, right? Early mid-1930s, before the Second World War. So Empire of the Clouds is not about the Hindenburg, but another airship called the R-101, which, from the lyrics of the song, I assume is going from Britain to India, but similar to the Hindenburg, basically met its fate along the journey on its maiden voyage, and the whole song basically documents the short maiden voyage that it had, and it's just this incredible. Bruce wrote it on piano, and then so he basically, I think he almost had to learn piano to try to play this. I don't think he was I'm not aware of him being a proficient piano player before that. But he started playing, and you hear the intro, it's all on piano, and then the whole band kicks, and there's an orchestra on top of it. It is a very intricate song, and for obvious reasons they haven't played it live. It's going to be very difficult to get all the components, in a live setting right. But yeah, That's it. The whole song, lyrically, is about the journey of the R101 before it meets its demise. But the cool thing is the way that the orchestra kicks in and the guitars are playing, it feels like the whole music, the instrumental side, is also explaining the story. In the moments, at the beginning, it's obviously naturally very calm because it's a calm day when the voyage was starting. But then, as the voyage goes on and the airship gets caught in a storm, the music naturally becomes way more intense, with lots of, almost danger written in it. You feel the tension of, then how it connects with the lyrics and the whole, you can imagine the airship being in this situation. The instrumental side just provides, so much atmosphere. And just the way that there's one particular moment, I come it's about maybe like 10 minutes in, the way, when the voyage and the song itself reaches its most epic point, you just hear the blast of the orchestra horns, and you feel it
Go straight, and then stay left.
through every sort of... Oh shit, I'm in the turnaround lane. Fuck, I didn't mean that. Oh no, that's bad.
Get ready to turn right.
I didn't realize that was a turn. Oh, there's a way I can get out of this. Nice. Oops. What do you mean trailer damage? I didn't hear anything. Oh well, never mind. That's what you get for not paying attention. I was like, oh, this is too good to be true. There's a slip road I can take. Nope.
Get ready to turn right.
Seriously, I mean,
Turn right.
if any of you listen to any of these songs, I'll be very happy. But seriously, like, if you listen to Empire of the Clouds, do nothing else. Seriously, right? I know it's going to sound weird, and some of you might be like, what? But trust me, if you want to listen to Empire of the Clouds, do nothing. Literally just sit there, have it on your phone or something. You can look up on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever you want, and just literally just
Turn left.
stick headphones on and do nothing. Just sit there, close your eyes, and just listen to it, and nothing else. And you really will be transported to that time, and you can feel everything that's happening. It's an incredible piece of music to listen to. And I hope you won't be disappointed. The only criticism maybe might be, oh, it's a bit too long. But from like the thematic perspective of it, it's incredible. I don't think 200 miles. Okay, kind of makes sense. About halfway through my list. That's fine. So yeah, I will never get tired of listening to it. I had it literally the other day. I went out to the supermarket and I was like, oh, I'm maybe about 20 minutes in the supermarket. Let's put on Empire of the Clouds, and I loved it. I had to be careful not to, do any sort of dramatic poses or, air guitar stances in the supermarket. But just imagine me walking down, I don't know, like trying to pick up, fresh vegetables and stuff. I'm just there, rocking out on air guitar. But yeah, it's awesome. The next song is another one from a band that I've not listened to as much as I should have. It's a band that I've kind of discovered a lot more because my father-in-law adores this band a lot. For me, I've got a few of their albums, but again, it's not a band that I listen to very much. But again, it's a crime that I don't listen to them enough. I need to listen to them more. The band is Pink Floyd, so we're going back now in time. Classic band. I have Animals on vinyl, which is a great album to listen to. I mean, Comfortably Numb, right? The classic Pink Floyd song, Dark Side of the Moon. That classic album cover. That's the album that most people think of. But for me, my favourite song, this is actually, out of all the songs, this is probably the song, it's like the newest addition to this list. My playlist used to be a little bit heavier, then I've been moving stuff around a little bit. Uh, the uh, the song that I would pick is not any of the ones that I've mentioned. It is from the album The Wall. It's not Comfortably Numb. It's Hey You, which again I don't really know within sort of like the Pink Floyd community. Is that a song that is revered in a very good way? I would like to hope so. The lyrics I don't fully understand because it is part of this really larger concept album of The Wall, which was all about how the band in particular, I think it was Roger Waters who was responsible for writing quite a lot of that, how he felt very sort of disconnected with the audience that he was playing to. Like literally there's a physical wall in front of them. So I read online that the story of Hey You, it's about the protagonist of the album has put up this wall in front of them and has like stepped away from public light, but now wants to get back in. They realize they miss it, but now they can't. So I think they're sort of crying out for attention a little bit. The thing I love about this song, I know it's a petty reason to love a song, but I adore the guitar solo. And again, it's similar to Stargazer, but even more so. There are so few notes in this guitar solo, but you feel David Gilmour playing them with so much heart and so much emotion. If anybody says that guitar solos have to be fast, I will show them this song. Every time I feel it, I feel every note. And I adore it so much. I get goosebumps every time I hear it. And until that feeling goes away, Hey You is on my list. So it's a little bit of a shorter one, it's like 4 minutes. So, the next song is from an album that I really want to talk about in more detail. So I don't know how much I'm going to talk about now. The album is from Myles Kennedy. So we've had Myles Kennedy because of Alter Bridge. Now we've got Myles Kennedy, but it's from his solo project, which is more sort of bluesy, folk, different guitar. You got guitars, acoustics, lap steels, banjo, all that sort of thing. His first solo album came out in 2018. Oh, that's really, I'm gonna screw this up. 2017, 2018, something like that. So I think it might be the newest one on the list. He wrote an album called Year of the Tiger. I will probably go into more detail about it at some point, but I'll give you a little bit of explanation. Basically, when Myles was young, about 3 years old, his biological father died. He was a Christian Scientist, and he basically fell ill with appendicitis. But because of his faith, he did not seek medical attention, or he refused to seek medical attention. And he basically, without putting too fine a point of it, he put his faith above his own well-being, and he died from a condition that was not preventable, but like his death was preventable, but his his ailment, I should say, was very much treatable. Anyway, so this obviously has a huge impact on Myles. Growing up for most of his life without his biological father, his mother remarried, and he's very happy with his stepdad, so that was no problem, but still. And I talked about it in a previous episode, how there's an Alter Bridge album called AB3, which is all about Myles losing his religious faith, basically. Oh shit, I'm running out of fuel, that's bad. This could end badly, folks. And I'm getting tired. Oh, I really hope there's a petrol station up here. I should have stopped off in that other place. Anyway, so he lost his faith. But he never really spoke much about his biological father, and he never wrote songs about it. Anyway, basically, he had a situation where he was mowing his lawn. I know, weird segue, but trust me, this is going somewhere. He was mowing his lawn one day, and like doing a lot of menial tasks, a melody popped into his head, and the melody was, I'll try and sing it, not in a cringy way. In the year of the tiger, I won't weep and moan. and he didn't know what that melody meant. He liked the melody, he liked the lyrics, he had no idea what it meant. So he kind of put it into his like bank of recordings or whatever. He was like, "What's this Year of the Tiger stuff?" And he looked it up, and obviously tiger is one of the animals on the Chinese zodiac, and the Year of the Tiger was 1974, which was the year that his dad died. And he kind of realized at that moment, oh right, okay, the universe is trying to tell me I have to talk about this now. I'm going to quickly do something I don't normally do. I'm going to pull off the road here because I need to find out where a fuel station is. Because I might need to turn off here. Not what I like doing, but I'm going to have to. Anyway, so he suddenly realized I'm going to have to talk about my dad's death. And that's what he did. So he wrote an entire album, which came out in 2017 and 2018, all about the death of his dad. Oh, there's one up here. Oh, can I get there? I really hope I get here in time. Oh, I'm literally right at the destination. Okay, we might have to do a short job so I can keep going with my list. I talked about Empire of the Clouds for way too long.
Let's do this.
Let's do this. Come on. 22 miles. You got enough petrol for 22 miles. Come on. Come on. I'm running low on fuel. Come on. After this truck. Come on. Yeah. No car. Oh. Don't. Come on. Just let me through. Anyway. So, that's what he did. He wrote an album about the death of his biological father. Now, obviously, because he doesn't have a lot of memories about it, he had to talk to his mum about it. And I think his brother's older than him, so he might have spoke to his brother a little bit about it. And a lot of the songs are actually written from the perspective of his mother. And when this album was released, I bought it, as you would, on CD, on vinyl. And there was one song in particular. He released, I think, 3 or 4 songs from the album beforehand as like promotional singles. And I listened to the Year of the Tiger, which is like the opening track, which sort of sets the scene, and then there are two of them sort of in the middle of the album. There's one in particular towards the end, and it was a longer song. It's kind of around, I think it's like 5.5, 6 minutes, and I purposely did not listen to it, because I was like, nope, I know it's towards the end of the album, I don't want to listen to this, it's clearly a little bit more epic, I'm gonna sort of leave it be. So I was listening to this album, and I knew what it was about, but I was reading the lyrics at the same time. And I'm not one normally to, like, well up at music. I get goosebumps when I listen to music. I don't normally cry at music. I'll cry at visual things, I'll cry at films all the time. But I don't do it to music very much. But I could feel it just building inside me. And the song previous to this one is called Nothing But a Name, and this is a really hard song to listen to because you hear him like not bitter, he's not bitter about it, but he's almost like demanding answers from his father, like, how could you choose your faith over me? And the fact he was left with nothing but a name. He basically has no memory of his biological father. He was left with nothing but a name, and it's so. I mean, you can tell he's not bitter. It hurts him, and he's so like he's clearly missing something, even though he's had a very happy life with his stepfather and everything. So there's just this huge build-up of emotion in this song, and then it kicks into the song that is on my list, which is called "Love Can Only Heal," which is where basically the album turns a corner and basically says, this is where the positive stuff comes in, right? That love can heal all wounds, all that sort of thing.
Make a U-turn.
And can I turn in here? Please. Yes. This is probably not the way I should have gone in, but this is the way I'm going in. And, you know, you just... all the emotion was so, like, built up inside me listening to this. And then, this song comes in with the complete sort of change of tone, and I could just feel it. I was like, not trying to be like a man, you're not going to cry or anything, but just like, I was like, no, I can hold this together, right? We've turned the corner, we're in the positive stuff. But But then, and again, it's guitar solo. It kicks in after, you know, midway through the song with this guitar solo. And I can only... I think it's also lap steel as well. It's not just the guitar. I think there's a lap steel going on in there as well. The only way I can describe it to you is that it sounds like the guitar or the lap steel, whatever instrument he's using, it sounds like it's crying. It has this like wailing to it, but like not like a cat wailing way. Like it's really hard to describe. But it really does sound like a person crying out. And at that moment, I just lost it. And I just remember listening to the solo for the first time with just tears rolling down my face. And just, I was enjoying it, but it just, you know, it was an emotion I hadn't felt before listening to music. Visually, yeah, if you play me like a sad moment in a film with violins in the background, oh, I'll start crying. Easy. I've got absolutely, like, no barrier to that at all. But music, it had to be something very powerful to move me without the visual aspect. But it was just, wow. And it's just, and even still now, like, I don't cry at it now when I listen to it, but good grief, I get goosebumps every time. And it's just the sound of it is just, it, you know, yeah. How you can take a lyric like "Love Can Only Heal" and repeat it so many times, but it just has so much impact. And it's a beautiful way to. It doesn't end the album. The album doesn't finish that way. There's a couple songs after it, but it's the perfect point to be like, yep, we're turning the corner here. And it's beautiful. Trust me. Like, I want to talk more about Year of the Tiger, but seriously, people, if you want to listen to something with so much emotional weight, listen to Year of the Tiger. It is an amazing album. As one of those albums as well that when people first heard the Year of the Tiger, which was like the promotional single, they were like, "Oh, what's this? This is not rock. What's all this about?" Right? It was very, very different, very sort of country blues, folky type of style. But that's the album that Myles Kennedy wanted to make, and he made it, and he did himself very proud with it. He took such a traumatic event, like a parent dying, especially so young in his life and everything, so early in his life, and he made it into something very special that, you know, everyone can connect to. And it's very, very beautiful stuff. So that's Love Can Only Heal. Next one is I had to have a Stevie Ray Vaughan song on here. I've spoken about it before that Stevie Ray Vaughan was one of my other musical epiphanies, thanks to my father-in-law. Very hard to get to pick one song. If I had my way, I would pick, you know, a live song, which I probably could have done. There was nothing stopping me. I would pick something from El Macambo, maybe, I don't know, Lenny or something. There's so many good performances on that album. But in terms of studio recordings, the one that I would really connect to is a song called Riviera Paradise, which is from his last studio album with him and the band Double Trouble before, unfortunately, he died. Which again was... I love this song so much, partly because it's like the jazzy song, right? He tried to stray away from blues classics with this, and he went into... to do a jazz blues instrumental. He wasn't even singing, jazz blues instrumental, which he did incredibly well. But also it's just the fact, you know, how it almost it captured his sound at the most perfect, and the fact he was sober when he recorded this. He'd beaten his addiction. I mean, I know you can't completely beat addiction, but you know, he was clean. And you saw this and go, wow, he had raw ability, now he's got this really technical prowess to go with it. And then, I think about not even a year later, if that, you know, he died in a helicopter crash, and you're just like, how, you know, sometimes the world is so cruel, and how, you know, someone like that had got through their addictions, they were, you know, writing a lot of, you know, original music rather than... I mean, there's nothing wrong with covering blues standards, by the way. But the fact he'd put in so much effort to then do a lot of his own songwriting on that album in step, and produce such an amazing song with Riviera Paradise, but then his life was cut short. Oh, there's another turnaround lane. Oh no. These turnaround lanes are really confusing me. Oh, there's another. I can go through another way. Nice. Goodness me, how did I make that mistake twice in the space of like 2 minutes? That's incredible. Assuming nothing's coming. These mirrors need to be adjusted. These are not in very good position for me. I'm going to have to make them wider, especially the one on the far side. I can barely see any... I've got such a large blind spot. So yeah, Riviera Paradise, nothing more to say, just beautiful technical playing from Stevie Ray Vaughan. Jazzy, bluesy, I mean... One more. So 2 more songs left. The next one is another classic rock song. I had to have either something from the Beatles or Queen. There wasn't one Beatles song that really stuck out to me, so it had to be a Queen song. And if it's a Queen song, that choice is very easy. It is the show must go on. This is my... if I'm having a really bad day, this is the song I'll put on. It never fails to inspire me. If you don't know anything about this song, it was recorded right when Freddie Mercury was really, you know, grappling with HIV. He knew that the end was coming, especially at that time when there wasn't a lot of medical treatment for it, if anything at all. And you hear sort of the stories about, you know, the recording of this song, and how Freddie was very weak, and the other members of the band were saying, you can't record this, you're not strong enough. And he just basically took a shot of whiskey and was just like, darling, I'm gonna do this. And he went in, and I don't know from a technical perspective, I'm not a singer, I don't know from a technical perspective if it's his best ever performance in the studio, but at least as a listener, it is the most powerful. The lyrics are amazing. Really about fighting through adversity, and it just shows, you know, what an amazing character he was, in terms of his theatrics and his, you know, really big personality, but just the raw ability that he had, and it's just amazing. I think if anyone knows the song, you know exactly the vibe. So yeah, the show that must go on. And then for the last one, I had one written on my list, but then literally now as I've been driving, I thought of another one that I want to put in instead, so I'm going to change it. Yeah, I'm going to have to change it, I think. The song I'm going to put in, I'm going to have to pick something by Jeff Buckley, an amazing singer. Another one that was recommended because of, you know, listening to Myles Kennedy in interviews. He always talks about Jeff Buckley. Off the top of my head, man, there's only one album. What on earth do I pick? I mean, I guess I'm gonna have to go with Hallelujah, aren't I? Yeah, it's gonna have to be his cover of Hallelujah. If you ask me, maybe if I listen to that album again, Grace, which I think was from '94, if I remember rightly, I could probably pick something else. But in the moment, again, he's another singer who's just different. Again, different to likes of Freddie Mercury and Dio, but again, is just able to put so much emotion and convey so much in the words that he sings. I didn't even consider Jeff Buckley before. I don't know how I didn't. Yeah, fuck it. I'm changing my list. The song I had is gone. The last song on the list, Hallelujah, by Jeff Buckley. And we're here, folks, in Texas. I don't even know the place is where we've gone to. Texarkana. There we go. I think that's how you pronounce it. We had a little bit of a rough ride. Had a couple of crashes and stuff at the beginning. We almost ran out of fuel, but we got there in the end. I'm going to put in the fuel economy. Fuel economy treat. Oh, and we made it. And we had a little bit of lag. I do apologise, but as I said, I'm not running on top tier gear. That was a really nice route. We hadn't done that route before. So where did we actually go? We were in Idaho Falls, which now I can't find on the map. That's fantastic. Idaho Falls. We went down, I think, close to... Did we go down to Salt Lake? I don't think we did. I think we ended up going sort of this way into Wyoming via Jackson and Rock Springs. Yeah, down via Fort Collins. We went around Denver, not that I really was paying attention to that. Yeah, and then into Kansas. Yeah, then down to Oklahoma City, that's right. And then across. So that's a really nice route I hadn't done before. I was mostly on the daylight. It's fantastic. Anyway, so I'm going to stop this video here. I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to upload this as soon as possible for you all. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave any comments that you wish. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to leave a like. If you don't want to leave a like, that's fine. No problem. Feel free to leave your Desert Island discs in the description below. If you listen to any of the songs that I've put in the video today and I've spoken about, and you check them out and you like them, feel free to leave a comment below. If there's any topics that you want me to talk about in future episodes, leave them down below and I will gladly talk about them. I'm not going to leave you be, but I hope everything's okay with you all, and if it isn't, I hope it all gets better soon. And until we see each other towards the end of this month, take care everybody. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you very soon.